Hi, this is Lewis Cahill for Gink and Gasoline, and today I'm going to teach you to tie one of my favorite bonefish flies. This is a pattern that I worked up for fishing down in the Bahamas that I call a sugarfoot. And it is tied on a Timco SL11, it's tied on a Timco 811S hook, which is basically the same hook as the Gamakatsu SL11 3H. Generally, when I have my druthers, I tie on the Gamakatsu hook, but the shop was out of them when I went, so we're tying on the Timco. It's a good hook. It's a good strong saltwater hook. There's nothing wrong with it. So I have laid down a nice base of Danville flat wax 210 denier pink thread. It's a good strong saltwater thread, and I'm using an extra small lead dumbbell eye. And you can kind of pay attention to how I have tied that dumbbell eye on the hook shank, because you want your dumbbell eye back a little further on a bonefish fly than you would maybe on a trout fly. I put it on with some figure 8 wraps, and I always come back and wrap under the eye to tighten those wraps up and cinch it down. And then I will wind my thread to the bend of the hook, and just as a little extra precaution, I will use a little brushable super glue on that dumbbell eye to hold it in place. So the first material we're going to tie on here is some orange Estaz chenille from Metz. This is a nice sparkly orange chenille, and it simulates an egg sac on a spawning shrimp. And orange, especially a nice sparkly orange like that, is a really hot color for bonefish. That turns them on. So we're going to use just a couple of turns of that, just enough to build up a little orange ball there at the end of the fly, and then we'll secure it and snip it off. There we go. Then the body of this fly is going to be made out of a Wapsi Palmer chenille, and this is in a white color. And this is a nifty, sparkly little chenille that lays down nicely when you palmer it, and has good action in the water. So I'm going to make the body, I'm going to palmer from just in front of my egg sac, right up behind the eyes. And you just want to make sure as you do this that the fibers are laying down the right direction for you. You want them to lay back towards the bend of the hook, not forward towards the eye, right? So it usually, once you get it going the right direction, it cooperates pretty well. And this builds up a nice sparkly body that has great action. And that's one of the things I really like about this stuff, is the way it moves in the water and sparkles, and I think that really attracts the fish. So there we go. Now I'm going to tie that off and snip it. And then I'll kind of fluff this body up a little bit, make sure that all my fibers are working like they're supposed to be. And you can see it makes this kind of funnel-shaped body, all right? And that's great. It's got bulk, it pushes water, all that's fine. But I like to change the profile up a little bit. What I like to do is come in here and trim this material and give the fly a flat top and bottom. So now it has the visual effect of almost of having wings. It gives the fly a broad profile, but keeps the vertical profile narrower. So there we go. You can kind of see how that looks there. And then we'll go ahead and bring our thread up in front of the eyes. And what I'm going to do is just take this hook and roll it over in the vise. Normally I would just use my rotary vise and turn the hook, but I have my vise at a funny angle here to accommodate my video camera, so that's what we're going to do. The next thing I'm going to tie in is some sand colored craft fur, and this is a nice, premium craft fur. I'm going to clean out all the under hair to take the bulk out of my wing and make a nice clean wing. And once I have done that, I will trim the butt ends of it flush. There we go. And I'll lay that in on top of the hook. And I'll give it a couple of loose wraps to hold it in position, and then tug it back until it clears the eye of the hook, and then secure it. So there we go. There's our wing. And now I will take 4 or 5 strands of flash in bonefish tan, and I'll secure that over the top of the wing. There we go. I'll pull this back, and I like to trim it so that the fibers are not all the same length and none of them come past the end of the wing. Now I will take a tan Sharpie marker, and I'm going to bar this wing to give it the look of the segments of a shrimp's body. And this makes this little guy look real shrimpy in the water. There we go. There's our nice barred wing. And then I will tie in some silly legs. I have these little speckled silly legs from Orvis. They are tan with orange tips, and I like to just catch them in, and then I hold one leg down each side of the fly and wrap back over them so that I have one leg down each side of the fly like that. Clean up a couple of little stragglers up here before I build the head and finish. And we just build a nice pink head. This is not rocket science. Orange is a nice color too for these flies, but I like a softer orange, not a real, hot orange. So there we go. Snip that off, and then I've skipped this on a couple of tying videos, but I almost always finish my flies with a little brushable super glue, because that just makes them bulletproof, and especially when you're bone fishing, it's not uncommon to fish all day with one fly, and you want it to stay together. So there you have it. That's the sugarfoot. It's caught a lot of bonefish for me down in the Bahamas. It's great for the light colored sand flats down there. It's got a lot of nice flash and action in the water, and when the fish comes in behind it, they see that little orange egg sac, and it just drives them crazy. So get you some, tie some up, get down to the Bahamas, catch you some bonefish.